Hey my crafty friends, it's Rick. I'm here for Pajama Crafter Stamps today, and we are going to use the Some Gave All stamp and die set to create a fun card, to create a card. This was Joy's top seller at the Mesa show she just went to over the weekend. It features the tattered flag. Her husband was a veteran. This is an American-owned shop, and they are very proud of the fact that they are veterans and very proud of the United States. So it was very special for her is for have a stamp set like this. So there's that. And the sentiments are one nation under God, all gave some gave all. And then you have the Happy Memorial Day and Happy Veterans Day, so you could use it for that. So I have already stamped out my flag onto some Strathmore marker paper. And I'm going to, since a lot of this was her top seller, I wanted to share how I would color this image up. I'm going to be using my Who markers today. And as I did test out my example to figure out how to do this. So this is how I would do it. I looked up the flag to make sure. I didn't want to color nothing wrong. I'm going to start with my lightest color, which is my red. It's R4. And I'm going to map out any stripe that would be red. That way, I know what is what. Because when I first started coloring this image, I had a very hard time figuring out which stripe was supposed to be what. All right, this is a folded flag. It has the creases in it. So your stripes would actually slide down a little bit. So this one would be a red stripe, and you're going to alternate. When we get over to the other side, it gets a little bit trickier. So I will speed this part up a little bit, and I'll come back in just a little while and we'll talk about the other side. All right, I've got this side done. Now we're coming to this side over here, and this is where it kind of got a little tricky. Our first stripe is white underneath there. So we're going to come down here, add in this one. And again, I'm just mapping out still. All right, you can see how at this point where this fold is, how this stripe actually drops down because of that fold. So we're going to drop down this one also, because that would be a red stripe that drops down. And then that would be this stripe, this is that stripe, this would be that stripe, and that would be that stripe. When fabric folds, it has that, you have to go with it, especially if it's a striped pattern. So those stripes are going to move down. All right, there is that mapped out. Now I'm going to map out my blue, and I'm going to use just a very light shade of blue because I want to make sure I don't get my stars. I mean, if you do, it's not a big deal. You could always come back and use a white gel pen to add just a little white into those. But I found this much easier to map all this out using the lightest color first and then coming back and coloring everything. All right, so I've got all of that mapped out. Now I'm going to show you the coloring process. I'm going to do a few stripes and then I'll speed it up and I'll show you how I did the blue and the white. All right, I'm going to start off with my darkest color, which is R06 in my markers. And I'm going to add a shadow here at the end. Also, because this fabric is folding down, there would be a shadow here as well coming up because it dips, you have that dip in, so there would be a little shadow on this side coming up where it folds. So same thing here, we would have a little one here, and then we would also have one here on this one. So there's another one. This one would come over here. Anywhere that the fabric is starting to fold, you're going to have those little shadows and dips. We're going to come in and blend those out with, this is just R5 in the Ohuhus, but you use whatever markers you have. All right, now I'm going to come back with my lightest color and just tie everything together. Here we need to have the shadow. That would be in shadow. That's definitely in shadow. So we have those dips. We have to put those in. All right, I'm going to do the blue next. So I'm going to use PB4 for my darkest, PB3 as one of my midtones, and PB2 as my one of my lightest. And then I did use a little bit of PB1. All right, I'm going to come in with my darkest color, and I'm going to put a line right at the edge, and then I'm going to turn this. I'm going to do just very little flicks right here. And I'm kind of going with the shape of the curve, the curvature of the image. I'm just coming in with my next darkest color. This is my PB2. Just going to blend this mid-tone out. Or pull out our mid-tone, I should say. This is our mid-tone color. The other color we just used was our darker color, our second darkest color. All right, now I'm going to come in and pull in the PB1 because there is that fold right there, and that is going to be getting more light. Now, this is where the big difference starts happening. I'm going to come in right where that fold is. I'm going to put in my darkest color. This is where you really starting to see the fold in the fabric. So this is our next darkest color. And this is our mid-tone. Gotta be real careful around our little stars. And then we're going to come in with our lightest color, which is our highlight, and just blend that little section out. All right. We're going to do that one more time. We're going to lay in our darkest, right where our fold would be. And then since we're using the markers, we're going to flick out a little bit. Our next darkest color. And our mid-tone. And then our highlight. Now, to color the white, because you do want to add some color to your white, anytime you have a white object, it does have shadow in it, so that is what's going to make your object appear more into more lifelike. I'm using a E090. It's called Eggshell White. So I wanted just to add a little bit of warmth into this. So I'm just coming in, and anywhere that fold would be, I'm adding in this color. So I'm just going to add those in. I'm going to do about there and about stop. And I'm going to come in with my 0 marker. I'm just going to blend that out. That way it softens that edge. I will also sometimes go in the opposite direction and flick the colorless blender into that line. That way it just softens it out really easily. So we're going to do that same thing. Sometimes I find it easier to flick in when I want using my lightest color. And for this, that is the 0 marker. That way I get a little bit better of a blend. We would have a dip here in these. Because that has that bend down and up, you would have a little shadow in there. So we are going to deal with that by adding just a little bit of color in there and blending it out. Our lightest color, which is our white of the paper, is going to be our highlight. All right, now for our stars, I'm going to just come in and I just kind of added just a little bit of color to them. I remember as a kid, and I want to say it was maybe in a classroom when I was very small, that the stars were actually yellow on the flag. But ever since I can remember beyond that, or maybe I dreamt it, I don't know. I could have swore they were. But they've always been white since then. So I'm just going to take my color blender 0 marker and just kind of blend that little out a little bit. All right, so there's my coloring. I'm going to cut this out with a matching die, and we are going to create our card. All right, I'm going to take, I have a piece of white cardstock that is just 3 3/4 by 5. I'm going to add a little color behind there so we can have a little sky. I'm going to use my Distress Oxide inks. And I want to kind of judge where that's going to be. Now I'm going to come in with tumbled glass. And I'm going to just blend that in together a little bit. It helps it kind of soften. go. Now I'm going to stamp my sentiment on here. So I'm going to pull in my Misty. Put that in there. We're going to lay our flag in. And I'm going to use the sentiment that one nation under God. All right, I'm going to pull in my card front. I have a piece of black cardstock. I'm going to layer this on top. So I'm going to get my Pajama Craft stamp glue holder. And I'm going to add liquid glue behind here. Add my matte layer. And we'll just add that to our card front. And then for our flag, we're going to pop it up using some foam tape. I also think this would be a good one for 4th of July. I think it would be actually a very cute set for 4th of July. Just go ahead and put a little bit more under here. Peel off our backings. Now I'm going to take my white gel pen. This is where the magic really is going to happen. We're going to add a few more little highlights. I can clean up any little stars in here. Any other little pots that my red stuck over. All right, I need to add just a little bit of something around the sentiment. So I'm going to use the boyfriend blue rhinestones. Not a lot, just a little. So like if Rick could keep track of his little tool here. All right, my friends, that is how I would color up the Some Gave All image. Color the flag where it actually looks like there's folds and dips. I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember to give it a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys. Love you. Stay crafty.